Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. DK, your personal trainer here. So excited that you're here. Today, we have Terri King Hunt. She is a member from one of the best locations in Burn Nation, Acworth, Georgia. And she was on our transformation panel. I heard her story. I became so intrigued, and I knew I had to have her here for an in-depth sit down. I'm going to take you through Terri's journey. She went from looking her therapist in the eyes and uttering those words, "I don't know if I want to live," to absolutely being on fire, living life to its fullest, inspiring everybody around her, and becoming an athlete along the way. You're going to hear exactly how and why here on this episode of the Burn Bootcamp podcast. Be prepared to be inspired. Here is Terri King Hunt. Enjoy, friends. Welcome to the Burn Podcast, where strength meets science, food fuels energy, and mindset creates momentum. I'm DK, your personal trainer, and I want you to train, eat, and think differently. So get ready to take your health and fitness to the next level here on the Burn Podcast. Let's get to work. So you speak for a living.
I do.
I was like, yeah, well, when I sat down for your transformation panel at Acworth, I was amazed by just the way you would articulate your story.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, we all kind of dislike like the sound of our own voice and the way we tell stories, but you're very good at it. And then you mentioned something about your family being a theater arts family.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to put two and two together when we were there. Why don't you do this? Because we're just rolling. And I want you to take me all the way back to kind of when you where you grew up and let people know your background. We're gonna take like a chronological journey through your story. And I'll take pit stops along the way just to, ask you how you're feeling about this and that thing. But I was just so intrigued by your story. It was so impactful. When I think about how I want Burn to impact the lives of families in our communities, it's like, ding, 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 ding. She gets it.
Yeah.
She gets it. She wasn't a quote fitness person and then stepped into the doors and realized that it's not about being a fitness person. It's about what it could do for you and your character and who you are and how you approach life and how you own every day. And so people are going to have such an amazing ride through your story. And I wanted to give them background. So let's start early.
Yeah.
Start with your upbringing, where you were born, where you were raised, and we'll just take it from there. This is your floor.
I love that.
And I will not interrupt unless we have to move on, because you have to get back to Georgia at some point today.
Unless I'm too long-winded. Yeah. So I was born and raised in Ogden, Utah.
Okay.
And, growing up, I'm a brown girl.
And we have a lot of gyms in Utah.
Yeah.
And so I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So growing up, back in that time, it was not a very diverse environment. So, growing up, I was, born and raised in a really great home. However, outside of our home was kind of tricky. It was tricky to navigate. It was tricky to be brown. It was tricky to be, not Mormon, not LDS. But, my parents were really, really great at keeping us grounded and keeping us in community with our community. And so, I have a lot of things that I look back and go, "Ooh, I really wish that didn't happen as a kid." But I also look back and say, wow, that really shaped my perspective on life, my perspective on relationships, my perspective on family. And so there are a lot of things that I am grateful for growing up. Yeah.
Is there anything that sticks out to you in particular as you're growing up? And listen, I know what you're saying, and it's just an observation. We have gyms out there, and it's a very Caucasian community. It's a very LDS community. It's there's some of the most amazing people on the planet. Everyone is so nice all the time. We actually have a large Latina population there too, and so it's pretty much like those two cultural groups. So I understand, not intrinsically, but I can see why that could be a tough environment growing up. Was there anything that stuck out to you growing up, maybe a story that you want to jump into that shaped you, and why?
Yeah. So one specific story that shapes me, I've always been very loud. I'm a very loud person. I'm very people think that I'm an extrovert. I'm probably more of an ambivert on the introverted side, but because I am that way, I'm loud. I stand out. I try to, command attention. And I remember that that used to always get me in a lot of trouble, but a lot of trouble in the sense that it wasn't valued and it wasn't appreciated. I very distinctly remember one day the teacher that was my teacher in the classroom, I remember her saying, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going to be a brain surgeon." She was like, "Oh, y'all won't ever be brain surgeons. Like, you that's just not for you." And I didn't understand why she said that. So when I went home, my mom was like, "Just ignore that. You can be whatever you want to be." But as I started to dig more, I understood that she was saying that because I was Black, that space would never be open to me. That space would never be for me. And I remember trying to conceptualize whether I believed that or not. But in Utah, none of my doctors were Black. So then I started thinking, oh, well, maybe she's right, But I will say that over time, I started to realize that, a lot of opinions don't have to be what I think. So I don't have to agree with you just because you said it. And I think that that's what I kind of consistently tell myself, that just because you believe it, just because you say it, doesn't make it true. Another story, they told my sister they were not going to teach her how to read, right? She was not going to teach my sister how to read. My mom did a lot of education for us in our home because, that just wasn't something that they thought was necessary for us. So little things like that. And I do agree with you. At this point in 2025, right, life is a lot different. There's a lot of changes that have happened. In the 80s, right?
A little different.
A little different.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of change and a lot of growth, and I'm glad that I get to see it, because even now it's a lot better.
So you grow up with mom and dad
Yeah.
in the household and siblings.
I have a sister.
Okay.
I have one sister.
One sister. So it's you four. You're out in Ogden. Sometimes you feel because other people are telling you that you're an outsider.
Yeah.
And this kind of shapes you, probably creates some doubt as a kid,
Absolutely.
but maybe some resilience later in life. And we'll definitely get into that. So from Ogden, you grew up there. How much time did you spend there, and what was next after?
Well, that was a great question, because I was trying so hard to fit in. You made a very good observation. I always felt like the outsider. I was trying very much to fit in, and so I was doing a lot of things that I wanted to fit in. So I got into drugs and alcohol and just a lot of acting out. And so my mom, I disliked her for a very long time for doing this. But when I turned 17, one day I woke up and she drove me to the airport and she sent me to my aunt's house in Alabama, my senior year of high school. I'll never forget it. She was like, "I have to change your environment. I have to. It's killing me. It's burning me up."
So you're 15, 16, 17.
I was 17.
Doing drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to fit in.
And she said, "I'm going to change your environment." She put me on an airplane and sent me to my aunt's house. And I finished my high school there in Alabama.
Are you doing hard drugs?
I was meth, marijuana, speed, lots of the things you can get access to as a 15, 17-year-old.
Right.
Lots of alcohol, lots of stealing alcohol.
Yeah.
And just lost, lost and trying to be a part of something.
So your mom notices this. Obviously, you're 15, 16, 17. You're just probably a defiant young girl.
Sneaking out of the house.
Trying to fit in.
Yeah.
And resorting to these things that aren't naturally you.
Yeah.
Like so many of us can relate to that. Thank you for being open about it. Because it's not just a little bit of booze that you snuck and a little bit of weed every day. No. Meth is a real deal, and speed and these things. And so thank you for being vulnerable and open and honest about that. Do you write about that in your book at all?
I think I do.
A little bit.
I definitely know that I talk about the way that people spoke to me and spoke about me. You know, they used to call me Terrible Terry. And I hated that because I was not terrible. I was doing some things that were terrible. I was doing terrible things, perhaps, but I wasn't terrible. And I remember just always just being so angry that that's what they were calling me, you know, and saying it and laughing, you know, like, oh, that's just Terrible Terry. It hurt my feelings so badly. But yeah, my mom was like, you know, I've got to change this environment. I have to send you away. I didn't talk to her. I was so mad. I was so angry. She moved me from my friends. She moved me. Think about this. I'm coming from Utah, and she's moving me to Alabama, my senior year of high school, right? Culture change completely.
Is this before senior year or during senior year?
This is the summer of my senior.
Going into it.
Yeah,
so you're going to start a fresh new school year.
Fresh new school year, my senior year, my last year of high school. She sent me to Alabama, and I went to school there, and it was awful. Like, it was awful. But if you know nobody and you have no access, your environment has to change, right? Your behavior and your habits have to change. So I didn't have access to all the people who were doing the drugs. I didn't have access to car and moving around. And so quite naturally, I dried out, right? I dried out in a way that was healthy. I was safe. My aunt was there. I lived with my aunt.
And tell me about your aunt a little bit.
Yeah, my aunt. I remember saying to her, I don't want to live here. And she was like, no, you're going to live here and you're going to be okay.
Was she on your mom's side at
Yeah,
this
that's
point?
my mom's sister.
You and your mom were on opposite sides of this decision, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
And she was on your mom's side.
Yeah.
Like, send her here.
Yeah.
Was she kind of like, I'm going to straighten Terry up mentality, or she...
Not like in the hard way.
In the loving way.
But like in the loving way, like, come here. Let's do this together. Let's change your environment.
So you guys had a good relationship despite you not wanting to be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's your only person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely felt safe. I felt like if there's any place that she has to send me, I'm glad it's with someone I know likes me and someone I know loves me. And so I came to Alabama. I, finished high school there, and it was the best thing. Like, I genuinely hated my mom for that. I was so angry with her. And by the end of my senior year, I can honestly say that I was like, Mommy, you saved my life. You saved my life. I told her, I said, you saved my life. And I know I'm a mom now. I know how hard that must have been to send her very dazed, drugged, lost child away from her. I can't imagine doing that. Like, not even so much, oh, I couldn't do that, but how painful that must have been for her, knowing how angry I was at her, knowing I wasn't talking to her, trying to decide whether or not she had done the right thing. And like, I think about that all the time. Like, I know she was we know things that happen in the future. Like, when we look at them, we're like, yeah, I made the right decision. But in the middle of making the decision, you're always questioning, am I doing the right thing for my kids?
Is this going to turn out the way that I
hope it will.
Turns out. Yeah. It's the uncertainty. And so where's Dad during this time?
My dad, he was in agreement with my mom. Like, I think they genuinely thought this was the best idea. It was a mutual decision, but I think dads always get their daughters like, this is Mom's fault, not yours, Dad. But but they were right there together, making the decision together. But I think I blamed my mom when it was a mutual decision by the both of them.
Okay, so senior year in Alabama, you straighten up, you're dry. What's next?
So once I got dry, I was thinking clearly again.
Okay.
I was thinking clearly again. I was back to myself. And I decided to go to college in Alabama. I went to Oakwood College. It's university now, Oakwood University in Huntsville, Alabama. I went to college there. I'm very musical, was in the choirs there.
You can sing.
I can. I love to sing. That's my jam. That's my thing. That's my way of communicating. my emotions and stuff like that.
I won't ask you to sing right this moment and put
Okay.
you on the spot, but if you want to break out a tune, please do.
Hey,
Anytime.
Dustin, anytime. So I went to college, and I went to college thinking that I was going to be a neurosurgeon. Because remember, that teacher told me that that's not for us. That's not what we do. I went to college believing that I was going to go into medicine. And I had a dream one night, and I had this dream that I was standing in front of people. Of course, I couldn't see the people, but I knew I was on a stage. And I woke up and I was like, oh, I want to be in communications. I want to use my voice. I love using my voice. I want to talk for a living. I want to do that. And I remember my grandmother was like, well, how about you do this? How about you be a teacher and you can still use your voice, but you can make money.
Yeah. Yeah, because YouTube probably wasn't like all the ways to make money with your personality.
Exactly. So I said, okay. I decided that I would be a teacher. I would go into education. I loved it. I still love it. I love it. And I changed my mind. And my mom was like, "You're not going to make any money as a teacher. That's crazy. Don't do that." But I did, and I graduated. And yeah, the rest, I've been a teacher.
Okay, and so during this time, how is your health? Because you have obviously this, you're coming out of this 3 or 4 year bout with drugs as a teenager, which is one of the worst times to battle that because you're also trying to figure yourself out at that time. So I can imagine that you were not too focused on like what goes in your body or, am I exercising?
Yeah.
Where are you at this time in your life?
Yeah. Listen, high school, sophomore, junior year, high school, I did track. I was a gymnast as a little kid. I did gymnastics, but college, again, I was just musical. I was very musical. I love music. I don't think I've ever really thought about exercise and, being athletic. Like that's just never been let me exercise this morning. I don't think I ever exercised during college.
Okay. So you are, you're going, you wake up, you have this dream, you're like, okay, maybe medicine isn't it. I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to use my influence. I'm going to use my inspiration. I'm going to start with kids. What are your 20s like after that decision?
Wow. So I graduated from college, and when I graduated, I got married. So I graduated in May, let's say, and I got married in July.
Okay. Yeah.
This person
wasting no time.
Okay. And I had only known him for maybe 6 months.
Okay.
So it's like it was one of those things like, oh, that's supposed to be the next step. Okay, let's get married. And so we moved to Georgia. And when we moved to Georgia,
why'd you move to Georgia?
He was a physician at Northside Hospital.
Got it.
And so when we moved to Georgia, I just started working, started doing education. And within a year, that marriage was like doomed. So we got divorced, and I just was like, I want to go home. And I remember very distinctly telling my mom, I'm just going to come home. And she said, you can't come back here. You have to figure it out. But it wasn't like she said it in, I don't want you here. She said it from probably looking back in the past, like, I know what you're going to come back to. And you just have to keep moving forward. Just like, you're going to be okay. Yeah.
To come back.
Yeah. You're going to be okay. Trust yourself. Keep moving forward. This is just a glitch in the journey. But you are okay. She was like, you have a degree. You can work. You'll be okay. You'll be fine. Don't come back here. And again, I was so upset. Like, Mom, I just got divorced. I'm by myself. Why can't I come home? I remember sitting in an empty apartment with nothing, no furniture, nothing, thinking to myself, my mom won't let me come home. And she was like, just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward, So I did. I started, making friends here in Georgia. And I remember God is so cool. God is really a really cool God. And my faith has always been a big part of my life. And if I trace God's hand, I can see him in every single part of it, even in the really awful parts. And I remember the first day I walked into my first job as an educator, my principal came down and she was like, okay, this is your mentor. And to this very day, she's one of my very best friends. Like, she's been instrumental in so many parts of my life. And she just helped me create community around myself. She helped me build community. She helped me make friends. And it was great. It was really great. We built something really amazing in those years that we worked together.
Okay. And so now you are in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
You're by yourself.
Yeah.
And you're mid-20s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take me from there
Mm-hmm.
to where you found Burn for the very first time. So let's
crazy. That's
I know that's a lot of stuff, but you can kind of take, like, the most important times from that period of time.
So I think one of the things that stands out to me is I was really, really, I've always wanted to be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got divorced, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to be a mom? This is scary. And my girlfriend one day, she was like, I need you to come with me to church. I want you to come with me to church. Come with me. And I have somebody I want you to meet. And
oh, you got to set up at church?
yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
It was so funny though, because I went to church the first time and I parked and I fell asleep in the parking lot and missed church.
Were you nervous to go in?
I just didn't want to go in. I hadn't been to church in a long time at that point.
Yeah.
And so the next week she was like, well, I'm going to wait in the parking lot and wake you up, So I went in and, I saw the person she wanted me to meet, and it was like the pastor. And I was like, there's no way I would ever in a million years date a pastor. That's crazy. And she was like, yeah, he's really great. So, on his side, he says that, of course, when I walked in the door, he was like, oh, I'm going to marry that girl.
Oh, yeah.
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 I don't know. Whatever.
Makes you feel good.
It did. It made me feel great at that point.
We're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with that. That's the absolute 100% truth.
There we go.
Right.
And we met, and he was just funny. Mm-hmm. He was really funny. We went to the movies, and the rest is history. And so we got married, and I became a mom. I have 3 kids. So one of my bonus babies, she's 24, and then I have a 16 and a 10-year-old. Mm-hmm. Now. And so I became a mom. And, if we're talking about like very like pivotal moments, when I had my first child, it was really traumatic. I do not have that beautiful birthing story that a lot of women talk about. Like, oh, it was so magical. It was not. Mm-hmm. It was terribly traumatic. She almost died. I almost died. It was my mom was, I can remember like the shrieks from my mom.
What happened?
So I was having these intense pains, and the doctor was like, oh, those are just contractions. I was like, this is not contractions. This is something really bad. I had no epidural, nothing. And then all of a sudden the heartbeat stopped and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. So they flipped the bed, like they literally flipped the bed up, and they were like trying to get the baby to come back down. And all of a sudden I just heard them go, we're going to go take her into emergency C-section. And I just remember blacking out, and I heard my mom shrieking in the background, and everything was just chaos. They got her out. Everything was fine, but it was just a really scary moment. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of set off like this intense depression. She was in the hospital for a long time she was in the hospital for a week. When the day they told me that I could come pick her up from the NICU is the same day my grandmother passed away. And it was like this really, like, I can remember the moment very, very clearly, because I remember being so excited to go pick up my baby, but like, oh man, my grandma missed it. Like my grandmother kept on saying, I'm a great grandma. I can't believe it. I'm so excited. I'm a great grandma. And I had all these plans to like get on a plane as soon as and go see her so that she could see her. And I just remember feeling so sad because she missed it, I think though, I do remember they took, pictures or whatever and sent them to her. But I it was really the moment where like postpartum started setting in, and it was just really sad. And really, I remember one day being in my closet in like a full blown panic attack because it was just so overwhelming. Like something bad is going to continue to happen. So I think that was another really pivotal moment in my life where it just started this spiral of just sad darkness.
And so when those times hit, those, would you say, you said intense depression?
Mm-hmm.
That's beyond mild depression.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you weren't in a good spot.
Mm-mm.
Can you maybe try to articulate where you were mentally? If you could zoom, I know it's painful, but if you could zoom yourself
Back to that
back
moment.
into the moment when you have this traumatic experience, your firstborn child barely makes it. You finally go get her from the NICU as like a sign of life, and the death hits kind of right. It's like as soon as you start to pick yourself up a little bit, bam, it takes you deeper.
Yeah. If I try to describe it, I describe that kind of depression as like a blackness that sits on your chest. Like even in this moment, I'm reminding myself I am no longer there. Mm-hmm. I'm reminding myself that I am currently very safe and I'm okay. But I can feel that chest, mm-hmm. like that crushing pain in my chest because I just was waiting for something else bad to happen. And it was really overwhelmingly scary. You're a parent, mm-hmm. and like I kept on going, something's going to happen to my child. Mm-hmm. Like mm-hmm. something's going to happen, this is really bad. Something bad's going to happen. And that was debilitating, mm-hmm. And then my mom left because she had to go home, mm-hmm. right?
And you're by yourself.
Yeah. And I'm by myself and my husband has to go back to work. And so now I'm here with this baby and she's crying and she's, I will say that I loved being a mom. Like I loved having an infant and nursing. Like all of those things were really magical. But the depression was really hard.
And so you're moving forward through mm-hmm. that.
Mm-hmm.
You have another human being to take care of now, mm-hmm. right? So there's no choice but to just move forward. You got to move forward.
Got to keep going.
How do you do that?
Again, I had some amazing people who came into my life. The neighbor. Okay. Our neighbor became my daughter's godmother. And, she would come over and she would help me. And, over time, it's just so beautiful to watch how God puts people in our lives at the right moment. And she was amazing. She would speak to me. She would, come on, Terry Berry, let's get up. Let's keep moving. And
not terrible Terry, more Terry Berry. Let's go.
Yeah. And to this day, like she's just so beautiful in our lives. And we came up and, she helped me go and I went back to work. And I kept moving forward and kept going. And my second child, I had postpartum again. It was really bad too. But she helped me kind of push through it. She would call me and things like that. But I really think that if I'm talking about how I got to burn, right? The pandemic.
Okay. So where's that in relation to the growth of your family when that hits in 2021? Mm-hmm. Are all three kids? So this is definitely all three kids are born.
Yeah. 2019 is when I had my youngest.
Okay.
Right. So 2019 is when I had my youngest and then pandemic. Right. So the pandemic hits and because I'm an educator, everybody started sending their kids to my house. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So I had this homeschool network in my house. Okay. I had like 8 children in my house. And then I was teaching like 12 kids online. So we had like this whole school. Yeah. But I was in the house all day long, every single day. I had a brand new baby. I was homeschooling. It was like the most great time and the really overwhelming time. Just really, really overwhelming. And I remember I could start to feel like that darkness coming back, that weight coming back, that overwhelm coming back. And I started getting really scared. I was like, you know what? I've got to figure this out. Mm-hmm. I've got to figure it out. So, I started therapy And in the therapy, I remember one time we were still in the pandemic, 2021, right? I remember telling my therapist, I want to die. And I remember it scared me so bad. Because that's actually how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
I just really want to die. Like, I don't want to wake up. I want this to stop because I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so heavy. I'm so tired. I told a friend, I'm so sad. And she was like, it scared us because we've never seen you sad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like that person that's always positive, always happy, always upbeat. And she was like, I've never seen you sad. I'm scared because I've never seen you this sad. I got on a prayer call and I was like, guys, I'm very sad. I don't know what to do. And I told my therapist, I just want to die. Like, I know that my kids will be fine. I've created a beautiful environment around them, but I am tired and I just don't want to do this anymore. And she was like, okay. My therapist was like, okay, so what are we going to do? How are we going to get through this? How are we going to move through this? And so she really helped me walk through that, like get through that, think it, process it, go through it. And coming out, I remember my sister was like, I started exercising. I started going to the gym. She lost like 40 pounds. It was nuts. And we were all looking at her like, how did you turn? She turned into a whole nother person, right? I have a book, and you mentioned the book, and
A Year Without Pants.
A Year Without Pants.
Terri
right?
King Hunt.
Yeah.
52 spiritual lessons I didn't learn in Bible study. It is on Amazon, people, if you want to check out Terry's book.
Yeah.
I have my very own copy. Thank you so much for bringing it. When I saw your transformation panel in Acworth, I was like, you had mentioned you had a book, and I said, hey, bring me a copy if you get a chance, and you remembered me.
Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
Appreciate you.
So So one of the things the therapist did was like, write your thoughts, write the things you remember. So I started writing those and I would put them on Facebook, right? Every Saturday. I called them my Saturday thoughts. And so then I compiled all of those Saturday thoughts into this book. And I remember taking these pictures, and it was great. And I had a great time, and I was taking the pictures. And my sister, she also at that time started like this journey of losing weight and, all of the things. And she was like, you should come with me to the gym. And I was like, that is not what I do. Like, I do not exercise. Like, I do not exercise. And my child was like, we are indoor kids. We are not outdoor kids. And I remember thinking, yeah, we're indoor kids. We're theater kids. We don't do that. Come on, we sing. So that's like, it was a running joke, right? It's a running joke in my family that Terri does not exercise. Like, that's not her thing. Sweat, no, we don't do that. And so she came down one Saturday and she was like, hey, come with me to Burn. I walked into that thing.
You just go because you're sick of her asking you, right? You're like,
I just
I'm
go
over
I'm like,
you asking.
fine, I'll go with you.
145 minutes just to get you off my back for the rest of my life.
And she said it was free. So I was like, okay, if it's free, then fine. I'll
check out your very first camp. Check it out right here.
Do you see how crazy I look?
Yeah. Can we zoom in or no? Can we zoom in? All right.
Look at
Let's go.
Yes.
Awesome.
So my sister's right there. She's the one pointing at the crushed side.
Yeah.
And look how her arms are.
Dude, she's jacked.
Yeah.
Sure.
So like,
shout out, sister. What's your sister's name?
Adrian.
Hi, Adrian.
Yeah. 40 pounds. She crushed it. She was amazing. She was like, come with us. Look at Jessica. Yay.
Shout out to Acworth too. Look at Jess there.
Yay.
Yes. What an amazing community you have in Acworth.
Yes.
Wow.
So let me just say that smile, I was literally pissed. Like, can I say that on this podcast?
You could say that. Yeah, you could say that.
So, I was so mad. I was like, why are we here? Why are we here this early? Why is everybody high-fiving me?
The only reason I'm smiling is because you all want me to, and I'm trying to do that thing I used to do in Ogden, fit in. That's why I'm trying to smile and act like I want to be here when I don't want to be here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah.
But you guys do this thing where you're like, come 3 times for free.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? And so I was like, okay.
You can't waste that, right?
Can't waste that. It's free. So I went the next time and they said you could have a focus meeting. Mm-hmm. So I had this focus meeting and I was like, told Allie Krupe, I remember.
Uh-huh.
I told Allie Krupe, when I tell people things and they agree with me, like I'll say things in ways that I hope people will agree with me. And if you agree with me, then I'm like, okay, see, you agree. So there we go.
Mm-hmm.
But when people say things that like stop me in my track and make me think, I'm like,
They know what you're trying to do to them, and they're like not going to give in to you.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
So I was like, yeah, Allie, this is terrible. I don't like it. I hate it, in fact. And she was like, okay.
Me too. So do I, actually.
She probably did. I don't know.
It's so wonderful. Now we have something in common.
She was like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. I was like, yes, so I don't really want to do this. And she was like, okay, how about you pray about it? And first of all, it threw me off.
Broke your pattern, yeah.
Right, because I was thinking in my mind, where are they telling people to pray at a gym? Right? Who tells people at a gym to pray? So I said, oh, okay. She was like, yeah, why don't you just pray about it and then, let me know how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, all right. So I went home and I prayed about it, like genuinely, honestly prayed about it. And God was like, go back again tomorrow. And I've gone back ever since. And like that one little decision to pray about it changed everything. But again, I still didn't like it because I was trying to go at 5:30, right? I was trying to go at 5:30. I would go, Georgia would be there. I would be happy to see Georgia, but like 5:30 is too friggin' early in the morning. It's just a stupid time in the morning to be exercising, if I might say.
I respect your opinion. Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's wild.
I went to 4:30 the other day, and I was like, "Why are you people here?
Yeah, what are you guys doing? It's just
awake?
after midnight."
And they were happy.
Yeah,
I was like, "What is that?
Yeah.
Why?"
Okay.
So and I think if I were to ask Georgia how I looked every 5:30 morning, I don't know. Like she said something one day that I went at 5:30. She was like, "Why don't you try coming at 6:30?"
Subtle.
Like, you don't look really happy here. Why don't you come at it? So the next time I did come at 6:30.
Okay.
And it changed everything.
Okay.
Like 6:30, I don't know if it was a different endorphins at that time of the morning. I don't really know. I don't know what it is about 6:30, but the girls there, like Latrice and Mitsu and Melissa and Michelle's, like there's like 16 Michelle's. And then
Georgia has a nickname for all the different Michelles.
Does she?
I don't know. She probably does for sure.
All of us there, Camilla, like all of them.
She's in Georgia. I'm just going to show a picture to everybody as you're talking.
I love Georgia.
She's here in the building with you, by the way.
Yes, she is.
Shout out Georgia.
Yay. And
you guys drove up from Georgia to be here.
And that's how she looks every single morning. How is that? Anyway, she's amazing. She's gorgeous. And I found my people. Like I found my people at 6:30 and they have held me up. We had 3 deaths in like 6 months, all very close to me, all extremely close. Like one of my best friends, daughters, one of our church members, just back to back to back. We were doing all of our funerals and I just was paralyzed. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. And I literally was like, I can't exercise anymore. This is just too much. And those ladies every day, Terri, come on, you got this. Come on, we're here. I'm probably going to get emotional because when you're in grief, your space feels this big. And when all of those people died, I thought everyone in my world was dying, right? It just seems like everything was crushing and everything was falling down around me. And I remember, I think it was Mitsu. She was like, but we're still here. We're still here, Terri. We're still here. She brought me these amazing muffins. And that statement like made me open my eyes from my grief and look around and see that I still had my people. Like they were still there. I wasn't by myself. I mean, I was grieving. It was really hard, but I still had people and they still loved me and they were still there for me. that was the most healing thing that I've gotten from burn, is just the people who just said, we're still here. You're not by yourself. I love them so much. Just, they are the best thing that ever happened through this journey. Burn helped me become stronger. Yeah, I have abs. I have multiple abs.
I heard. Congratulations,
Yes,
by the way.
I'm very proud of them too. Like, I have abs, I have arms, I have stamina. Listen, I went through this whole Metcon today and didn't pass out.
Oh, nice.
What the
There you
heck?
go.
Yes.
Well, I heard when you were during your transformation panel, you told the story about what was said to you in the gym. I want to hear that one again because that made me smile.
Yes, Georgia was like, so I was, listen, I feel like I'm going to pass out all the time when I'm there. It's just intense. And Georgia and Amanda's and, Jessica, these are some boss ladies. Like, I don't know. And they don't let up. And right when you feel like you're about to die, they come stand by and you're like, don't stop. And I'm like, I just wanted to stop. Why are you here? And so one day, I think Georgia sent me a text, something. And she was like, you're really looking like an athlete. I was like, what? I'm an athlete? How? How do you, what do you mean? And she was like, yeah, you're looking like an athlete. And I tell people all the time, yeah, I'm an athlete. I look like an athlete. I told my husband, I was like, do you see me?
Yes.
This is what an athlete looks like. I look like an athlete. Okay. Don't play me. Okay.
They ain't lying. You do. I mean, you absolutely do.
Well, listen, I didn't die today.
Yeah.
I didn't die.
Crushing Metcons
I
at Burn.
crushed Metcon, right? And so all of that is great. But what I've received in the healingness of that community is way bigger than my muscles, way bigger than my abs, way bigger than all of that. It's just we were driving up last night and I said, the community, the people, the love, the push, the value, the intentional focus on human beings is the best part of Burn. It's the best. I'm assuming that it's woven in. It's not just Acworth, but
it's by design.
Yeah, Acworth is like the place to be. It's the whole vibe.
It definitely is a whole vibe, a mark of excellence gym, which is the highest credential that you can get in our organization. Shout out to Caroline and Daniel Jones and obviously the whole team.
The whole team
supports you there,
it's
right?
Amazing.
At Acworth especially, and that location leads the way.
Yeah.
For Burn Nation, and so do you, and that's why I wanted to have you here today, because on the podcast we talk about it often, and we have to intentionally create episodes that have bright, airy, fun, laughter, and play, because life is so much of what we do at Burn Boot Camp is learning how to deal with the inevitable waves of tragedy and suffering that come along with life.
Yeah.
And how to have a positive, optimistic attitude, effort, a sound set of belief systems in spite of all of that. I think a famous quote is something like, life is about how you handle suffering, something along those lines, right? And that's what it's all about. So you have this wave of real death that comes around you, reminds you of grandma, sends you back to that dark place where there's this weight on your chest and you don't quite know what to do about it, and then it doesn't stop there. And I know we had talked briefly about, your immediate family. There was some,
my husband.
Some issues, with your husband that scared you, your daughter that scared you. And so the waves keep coming. They keep coming and they keep coming. So talk about those situations and now that you're in Burn and you have this, I feel like it's almost like a safety net in a way of comfort and of support and of security, it sounds like, for you, that when you felt like you were, for lack of a better term, you're cold in the woods, no clothes on, they come and they wrap you and they help you feel comfort, right? When you feel like you're all alone. And so this continues to happen. And how does it manifest itself when it comes to these next kind of waves that
so
come your way?
I'm glad you brought that up because it's not even so much a wave. It was like this huge tsunami, right?
Yeah.
My husband was diagnosed with colon cancer, but it was not even suspected. It wasn't on our radar, right? We went to have like a routine colonoscopy and they told me to park the car and come in. And it's like, you know what that means, right? And so then he has a surgery and then he goes back into the hospital because he has complications. And then all of these things start piling up. But so this happened actually before I came to burn my husband having cancer. But through that process, all of these things are like happening all around me. And my sister, that's when she was like, come on, we got to do something. We've got to move. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, let's figure out how to get healthy. So my sister lost all this weight. Let's figure this out. I'm a learner. I'm a teacher and I'm a learner. So if I see something I want to know, I'm going to dive deep into it. So I started talking to a nutritionist, starting to understand this. I built this whole 8-week program challenge, right? And so then, of course, I have all my friends that are the guinea pigs. And I'm like, okay, do this challenge with me. Let's see if it works. It did work. Everybody lost weight. So then we opened it up to the church. Like 30 people joined us. It was like more people lost weight. And then we did it again. And we just kept doing this challenge. And it was really great. It was really cool. But in the process, my oldest daughter, she goes to the doctor and finds out that she's pre-diabetic. How at 23, 24 are they telling her, you're pre-diabetic? And I'm like, how? What's going on? But again, if you look at the little dots, if you follow the dots that God is doing and you just follow them, everything you need for every single moment will be right there in your hand. I remember my husband preached a sermon one time and he was like, when you come to a situation that you don't know how you're going to handle or deal with, just pause and ask yourself, what's in my hand? Like, what do I have access to? Because God has already given you everything you need for that situation. And sure enough, she gets this diagnosis. And I've already created this challenge, right? Mm-hmm. So now she joins the challenge. By the time the 8-week challenge finished, she went back to the doctor. He was like, you're good to go. Your levels are amazing. You're doing great. And I was like, look at God. Like, look at how he just sets everything up. And, she's doing great. And I just look at all the ripple effects. Even the youngest one who does not exercise. Again, we're indoor kids, right?
Yet.
Right.
We get it there. Don't worry.
Yeah. She was like...
Burns indoors, by the way.
Yeah.
So there's always that.
There's indoor. Right. She's like, Mom, I want to take soccer. Both her dad and cool. I were like looking at each other. Why? Like, where did that come from? And she was like, yeah, I think I want to do soccer. And her dad looked at me and was like, don't say anything stupid.
Yeah.
And he was like,
don't ruin this.
Yeah. He was like, I think that's a great idea.
Cool.
I think that's a great idea.
And this is from watching you move.
Yeah.
She's inspired by your movement.
So. Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah. So I looked up soccer. I couldn't find soccer. But again, in the gym, you've got Jessica and Amanda and all these people who do softball.
Oh, they're athletes.
Yeah. And so they offered this free softball thing and they let her come and she's learning softball. And so it's like she's moving. The other day I was watching my Instagram and Georgia put up that her daughter was skateboarding. And someone was like, I want to go out and skateboard. And so she goes out and skateboards. And it's just those little things that when you show your children through actions, when you do things through actions, they follow. What is the saying? People follow what you do, not necessarily what you say.
Right.
And I think that is exactly what's happening in my family. I'm so, so proud and so excited.
And so you went from this, you have this so yeah, there's some physical results for sure. Mm-hmm. You have abs. We all know that now.
I have abs.
You're an athlete.
Like I have a waistline that's like pretty fabulous.
And you look fantastic.
Thank you.
And there is definitely it's one of the hardest things to do is to reshape your body because the prerequisite to that is reshaping your mind first.
For sure.
People that go through surgical procedures to have that happen, or some external element outside of them, like a GLP-1 or something. There's nothing wrong
Nothing
with that
wrong
to
with
get
it.
kick-started and
Yeah.
those types of things. But if that's it, or the gastric bypass and you don't do anything about it, right? There's all these types of treatments out there that just change the physical, but don't change the underlying neurochemistry in the wiring.
Yeah.
And you have this journey that, to me, the physical transformation is clearly a byproduct of becoming more mentally resilient.
Yeah.
Would you say that I'm accurate in terms of?
Oh, yeah. My mindset is completely different.
So you're leading. So you go from this person who I'm not a fitness gal at all. Like, don't even be looking at me, to now I'm leading my family and they're watching my movements. And because of that, my daughter, my youngest especially, is moving.
Yeah.
My oldest
Is healthier.
And I'm sure there was a little bit of guilt, some responsibility when your 23-year-old was diagnosed was pre-diabetic. I'm sure you had some of that.
Yeah. I started looking at the decisions we make.
Yeah.
Like, she's a baker and we bake cakes all the time. We don't think about how going to Chick-fil-A and eating a biscuit every single day impacts our health, right? One of the things that I started doing is I started asking God, like, how is my physical health connected to my spiritual health? There has to be a connection.
What'd you find?
I found that when you look at scripture and it talks about, we're creating an environment for the Holy Spirit, I realized that I was thinking about it all wrong, right? The Holy Spirit is supposed to guide us. There's a work that he has to do in us, like he's giving us direction and speaking to us. Well, I was always thinking of it like, let me create a nice hotel for him to come chill at, come in, like, so let me just make sure I look good. But we have to create an environment that's conducive to work. So if my brain is always foggy, the Holy Spirit can't do the work of speaking to me. If my body can't move in the direction that the Holy Spirit is directing me, he can't do the work. So our physical health is creating the environment for the Spirit of God to do a work in us and through us. And we have to have a physical health. Listen, you have to have money to make things happen in the world, right? It's just what has to happen. You have to be physically capable and able to do and carry out the work that God's calling you to do, right? And you can't do that if you're physically unwell. And when I realized that, it shifted the way that I talk. It shifted the way that I minister. It shifted the way that I encourage. It shifted the way that I create community and empower and motivate. Because now I want you to win. I want you to be healthy spiritually. So I have to convince you. I have to motivate you. I have to encourage you to drink more water, right? To hydrate. I have to encourage you to stop eating all that sugar. It's making you cloudy. You can't hear, right? I have to encourage you to eat better so that you can get up and move. Your knees are aching because there's so much inflammation, right? You can't stand up and move quickly because there's so much inflammation. Let me help you understand that. And that's been a really cool thing in my ministry, to be able to show the connection and the power in both of those together. And
that's beautifully said, by the way. And so husband, daughter, oldest daughter, they're both good. We're on the rebound. We're in remission, I'm assuming, from a cancer perspective.
Yes,
okay,
he's
awesome.
doing great.
Congratulations. And all of this makes so much sense when you are talking about the physical health in relation to spiritual health and creating the environment and the canvas to do the work on. And it seems like you've not only transformed yourself, but the mark of, in my opinion, you tell me if you disagree, the mark of a true transformation in the sense of changing the character of is locked in when you start teaching other people how to do it.
Yeah.
And now you're in this position where, if I didn't meet you and hear your background, I would just assume you're always physically, emotionally, spiritually, congruent. But you are somebody who literally thought about death.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to understand how brave Terri is being today. And she's an author and a writer and a speaker, and so obviously a minister, and she's speaking about this stuff, I'm sure, openly. But to be here in front of thousands of people and share the story, it's so brave of you. It's so brave of you because it is vulnerability, and we're so scared to show our vulnerabilities. And you're an example of how the journey to becoming who you are always meant to be starts with that vulnerability with yourself. And you admitted to somebody, and it was your therapist in a closed setting. You're now ready to reveal that outwardly, but at the time, it's a closed setting. Just you and your therapist. You had to tell somebody that, right? Because that was the only thing that could start the process, is honesty.
Yeah.
And so many of us sitting here, even right now today, we're listening to this, and your story is resonating. There's so many tears out there as you're going through your story, because a lot of things that you're saying, Terri, are going unsaid.
Yes. I'm really happy that you point that out, because my husband's a pastor, my husband's a psychologist, I'm in ministry, and I'm in leadership, right? And so it's scary as a leader to reveal that you're not perfect, that you haven't always been strong, because there's a part of you that says, if they know this about me, they won't think I'm amazing. They won't think that I'm strong. They won't think that I'm as awesome as they think I am. But I also keep saying to myself, what do you have in your hands, right? You're at this opportunity. You have come through so much. If what you have in your hand is your testimony and you don't use it, then you're missing out on something that God has put in your hand. He's brought you through so much. This is what I have in my hand right now. And if I go back to that dream where I'm standing on a stage and I'm talking to people, I don't know in that dream what I was saying, but I do know that right now in this moment, I have a microphone in front of my face and I'm in front of people. I can't let this moment pass but without saying what's in my hand. And what I have in my hand is my journey. It's my testimony. What you see of me now, this strong person, mentally strong person, I don't want anyone to leave a conversation assuming that I woke up this way.
Yeah.
Assuming that I just have been this strong person my whole life. I need them to understand the process that it takes to get there. And that if you're brave enough to go through the process, you can get here too. And, I tell people all the time, I will always be here to hear your story. I will always be the one that wants to hear the long version of the story. Tell me it all. I want to know all of it, because by being brave enough to share it all, you will stand victorious. You will be strong. You will be brave. You will be amazing. And everybody around you will be different.
That's such a great point, and it's so well said. I mean, and I'm looking for something in my notebook because I want to read it to you. And it was just a meditation that I had one day on the removal of ego. And as you're talking about, vulnerability, there's an association to this, to our ego, our own ego, but also the ego of other people. And when we are vulnerable, what we are also doing simultaneously is we're humbling ourselves. We're saying, hey, we're maybe not as good as we thought we were, right? And so now there's this layer of humility that helps shape my character, and there's nothing more attractive than humility, that, in the sense of it being the opposite of arrogance. And then secondarily, if emotional intelligence is how you view yourself and how you interact with other people, then you have people around you that aren't serving God. They're trying to be God. And if you show that you have any vulnerability, they no longer can follow you because their ego won't allow them to look up to somebody that is more godly than they think.
Mercy.
And so this is something I deal with all the time in a big company, in a big business. And I've constantly got to check my ego. And this isn't about me, but just, this is all about you today. But I wanted to read this to you because I think it's just, it can set up just a good conversation as we round out, the back, fourth of this podcast. And I'll find it here in a second. But when you had this removal of ego when you admitted to your therapist for the very first time. You had this removal of ego. Like, the way I think about it is you have to kill other old versions of yourself in order to be born. And it's part of us, is part of the free will that God gives us, is you can be born again, right? You can be born again. And regardless of what religion you believe, you can be born again. You can reinvent yourself. If you don't want to look at it through a spiritual lens, I'm not here to tell you have to do that. I'm here to tell you can be born again. You can reinvent yourself. I choose to do that through the image of Jesus and God. Not everybody does. And that's okay with me. We'll get you there eventually, hopefully.
But while you search for that, while you look for that, like every single moment that I experienced my change, like a transformation, a shift, every single time I experienced a shift that propelled me forward, it was kicked off by me being honest, right? My mom sending me away, being honest, you have a problem. Me telling Allie, I hate this, changing for the better. Me telling my therapist, I want to die. I don't want to do this anymore. Like all of those moments of raw honesty is what set off or set up in motion that next catapult forward. And so many of us are stuck where we are because we refuse just to admit, I hate this.
Right. I love that you just made that connection. And I wrote down what you're saying is that honesty is the foundation of all change.
Yeah.
And there is no change or transformation without that spark of honesty. I wrote down how one day I don't get stressed anymore, Terri.
Yeah.
But I have moments. I don't have bad days.
Yeah.
I don't really even have bad hours, but I have bad minutes.
Yeah.
There's a couple times a few weeks ago where I had some bad minutes.
Yeah.
And, I was like, you know what? Let me just sit down with my notebook and let me put my phone away and all these problems going, bzz, 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 help me. I'm a servant. I want to help. But you have so much gas. You only have so much fuel, you know what I mean? And so I was like tapped out. I was running on E. I actually was past E. I was like one of those situations where you're empty.
Pushing the car?
Yeah, you're out behind the car. And I'm actually waving down other people that are nice to come help me. And, I'm in need. So I asked myself the question, how do I continue to remove ego? Because I noticed that it was my need to be a certain version of myself, then I was letting myself down. And so I asked, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on how this resonates with you. This is what I wrote down. And I thought about maybe for 10 or 15 minutes before I put pencil to paper. But I first asked, where does ego show up? And I sat on it for a minute. And I said, another way to ask yourself that question is, where do I do things in attempt to be God rather than serve God? Where do I notice? How can I better notice all of the good qualities in people and entrain myself finding the good in people rather than identifying the bad in them right away? How do I become someone who just unconditionally appreciates others? And everything in the world is not for me. This is not about me. This is not about Devan Kline. This is about Burn Nation, and I can't take praise for a byproduct of people who are my teachers. It has nothing to do with me. This is you, and this is our producer Jordan and Chelsea, and our franchise partners Danielle and Caroline, and now the other 440 gyms that we like. This isn't about me. It actually is so much bigger than me that I'm a dwindling part of this organization, and everything in it is, and in this world is not for me. So maybe don't be so caught up in your need to be this everything to everyone, because that's reserved for only one, and that's the unexplainable, the Almighty. And food, and then I wrote, food is life's energy. Eating and giving honor to food creates a canvas to have good energy. It's what you were talking about.
This is what I was saying. Right.
So I just, I wanted to share that meditation with you and just maybe hear your thoughts and reaction to it.
Well, everything, you said like three things in there that were super powerful. One, the canvas, we've covered that. But the other thing that I think you said so well is this idea that why are we doing what we're doing, right? If you think about the scripture, I go always back to my faith, right? If you think about the scripture that says, he came to give us life more abundantly, right? abundant life looks like ease. It looks like moving through life with ease. Not that bad things don't happen, but God has gifted us with everything we need to live life with no stress, right? With very little stress and with ease and move through. So if you find yourself feeling so all the time stressed and that means that you're owning something that's not yours to own.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing things that are not meant for you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how you pointed out this idea that where are you doing things that aren't for you? Or why are you putting your ego? Why are you making this about you? Because when you're making it about you, you're owning everything, right? I got to help you. I got to help you. I got to help you. Now I've got so many people that I've got to do something for. Why? Who told you that?
Mm-hmm.
You're owning things and making yourself really tired, and nobody asked you to pick that up. You have a whole team. So looking at your team and going, wow, thank you. You're holding what you're supposed to hold. You're holding what you're supposed to hold. I'm holding what I'm supposed to hold. And like, I love how you said, I'm a dwindling part. You're not, but because it's getting so big around you, your part is easy for you to hold if you hold what's meant for you to hold. And I think that's really, really powerful when we understand it's not about us. It's about the greater good. It's about the greater impact. And if I just hold my part and have the impact where I am, you'll start to see the impact growing and everybody will hold their part. And 444 gyms later, I mean, I don't even know what that calculates into human beings helped, but that's a lot. That's a lot of human beings helped.
Millions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. It's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's I also was sitting in like the student chair there for a minute there. I'm like, give me some advice. This sounds good. Or like, I'm gonna write this down.
Yeah, listen, you should, and I say this right after the statement of hold what is yours. Right?
Yeah.
You should be very proud of what you built. I think a lot of times we have put a bad connotation to the word proud. Right? I'm humble.
Like pride.
Right.
Like,
I'm humble, so
yeah.
I'm not prideful.
Right.
Right. But pride in your obedience, right? I'm proud of how obedient I've been to God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of my honesty. I'm proud of my parenting. I'm proud of my my relationship with people at this point. And being able to look and go 444 gyms, families, children, people, me sitting here is because of your obedience with one thing. And that is something to own. And I really think, I hope you own that. I hope you cherish that. I hope you look at God and see like, whoa, look what I did. I put this in your hand, God, and look what you did. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of myself for trusting me and putting this in your hand. You know, this last night we were driving and Georgia was like, how are you feeling? And the word that came to my mind was scared, anxious, nervous. And I said, I'm feeling excited because I know that I didn't get here by chance. I don't know how I got here, right? But I do know that I am here. And there's a verse that says, those whose faces are turned towards God will never be covered in shame. They will always be radiant. I'm here. God will be radiant. He will shine through me. I will not be put to shame. I'm here. Let me be here and do what I can do. And I am learning to trust my body. I'm learning to trust my faith. I'm learning to trust my body. I'm learning to trust that I can do hard things. Listen, I kept up pace for pace with Maddie Morris. What do you mean?
Let's go.
Like
on a Metcon day too, right?
On a Metcon day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can trust my body.
I know.
I can do some amazing
you were in here
things.
kicking butt on the on demand.
Come on.
You got to go train with Terri on demand, guys. You kidding me? You want to see somebody absolutely getting after it? On demand.
On demand. I'm going to like screen record that for the rest of my, y'all ain't going to be able to talk to me. Y'all ain't going to stand me. I'm going to be like Maddie Morris. Listen, it was great. It was really great.
I'm glad you're here and sharing your story, and you're just such a inspirational, like you have this aura about you, this energy about you that is I was attracted to when I saw you on the transformation panel, and I knew you were going to come in and just deliver like you did and really help people through your story find themselves, because that's what this journey is all about. And the thing about Burn Podcast is that, we're in the gym in that 45 minutes and maybe that hour that, for those, maybe those 2 hours for those of you who talk in the parking lot for an hour afterwards, which is all good with me. We like that, as you know, especially in the early morning, mid-morning camps. We get some time with each other in the gym. In the physical reps, the weight that you pick up, moving from 20s to 30s, we're overcoming doubt in that moment. We're conditioning ourselves to be mentally resilient in that moment. But what we do miss, because it's so fast, is that opportunity to make it all connect, to bring the emotional, bring the narrative, bring the spiritual, bring the physical together, and talk about health and fitness as the essential, fundamental, axiomatic philosophy to our lives that it has to be.
Yeah.
Because on top of faith and on top of health and on top of family, like, these are the three most important things. And I'd throw love of country in there. And Burn is much more than just a workout, and your testimony and your story makes me proud of Burn, even more so, and I'm grateful every morning for it. But it makes me even more proud because I know that your story's positive reinforcement to me.
Yeah.
And it's really the currency I run on.
Yeah.
Right? It's like money is not really, you need money, and you're right, money makes the world go round, but like money is a tool, as part of the game of being an entrepreneur. The real payoff, right? Yeah. It's this.
Yeah.
It's this.
And the money will come, right? When you're doing what God has called you to do, the money will come. He has to fund the missions that he's placed in your life, right?
Yeah, right.
So that's not the thing, but the impact that you have on people, man, I tell people all the time, I just want to impact people so that they know that they have a place in this world. They have something that God has gift. If I can let every single person who hears my voice.
You can. They're right there. You see that camera right there? Let them know. Tell them.
I need you to hear my voice, and I need you to understand that if you are living right now, breathing, have air and breath in your lungs, you have purpose. There is something that God wants to do through you and in you to impact someone else. That's why we're here, to impact the lives of the people around us. You have a purpose, and I need you to understand that you have to push yourself past where you are right now. Look at your hands, ask yourself, what am I good at? What can I do? And then just move one step forward. Just do that. And then the next thing will reveal itself, and just do that. And if you keep doing that, you're going to start to see that the people around you are different and changed. And that's the whole reason we're here. Like, that's life.
Very well said. I think that is a great place to wrap up. Terri King Hunt, thank you very much. Your book, A Year Without Pants, 52 Spiritual Lessons I Didn't Learn in Bible Study. This is available on Amazon if we want to show it one more time. Chelsea, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And being a part of Burn Studios today, and on demand, and here on the podcast. This is a really inspiring and insightful conversation. And you're a very talented communicator, and I wish you the best in continuing to pay it forward.
Thank you. I can't wait to see what happens next, where you guys go next. It's exciting.
Wherever we go, you're coming with us.
Hey, let's go. Let's do it.
2 claps on 2. 1, 2. See you guys. Bye, friends.